Previously on She Built Different, BrightPath became a real, revenue-generating company, building a genuine two-sided marketplace connecting families to trained, credentialed home-based childcare providers across Mississippi, with Angela Price leading a new education and certification arm. A viral profile by journalist Maya Reyes sent downloads soaring nationwide, and drew the attention of Charles Whitmore, CEO of the country's largest childcare conglomerate, GlobalCare Corporation. The episode ended with a GlobalCare representative arriving at BrightPath's small Jackson office with an acquisition offer. This episode, Jazz turns down a life-changing offer, and GlobalCare stops being polite about it. As BrightPath scales fast, a trusted early partner's resentment curdles into betrayal, and the company's growing visibility becomes a weapon its enemies are willing to use. The GlobalCare representative formally lays out a life-changing acquisition figure. The team is visibly tempted. The number on the page was 8 figures, more money than anyone in the room had ever seriously imagined, let alone been offered. The GlobalCare representative framed it as a partnership, BrightPath's technology, GlobalCare's national footprint, reaching families you could never reach alone. Trevor Sims did the math out loud before he could stop himself. Sam Okafor stayed quiet, watching Jasmine Carter's face. She read the offer twice, slowly, the way she'd once read a pregnancy test result twice, hoping the second look might change something. Jazz refuses the offer, sensing it as a buy-to-berry move. Trevor is visibly frustrated by the decision. Jasmine Carter turned down GlobalCare's offer the next morning with a 2-line email. "Thank you, but BrightPath wasn't for sale." She explained her reasoning to the team plainly. "A company that big doesn't need our technology. They need our threat to disappear. If we sell, this dies quietly inside a filing cabinet just like the one that almost buried us in Jackson." Trevor didn't hide his frustration. "That's 8 figures, Jazz. Life-changing money. For all of us." "I know," she said. "That's exactly why I said no." Rebuffed, Whitmore pivots to competing directly and quietly lobbying against BrightPath's regulatory approvals in multiple states. Charles Whitmore did not take rejection gracefully, but he also did not take it personally. That was, he often said, the difference between him and people who lost. Within a month, GlobalCare launched a rival matching feature inside its existing app, and quietly retained lobbyists in 4 states where BrightPath was seeking childcare licensing reform. "If she won't sell us the road," Whitmore told his team, "we'll build our own next to it, and make sure hers never gets paved." BrightPath closes a Series A round led by Dr. Moss's fund, moves to a bigger office, and hires rapidly, with all the growing pains that come with it. Dr. Evelyn Moss led BrightPath's Series A round herself, bringing 2 other impact-focused investors along. The company moved to a full floor of a Jackson office building and hired 30 people in 4 months, engineers, provider relations staff, a real operations team. It was everything Jasmine Carter had wanted and, some days, more than she knew how to manage. New employees didn't know the story behind the notebook. Culture, she realized too late, doesn't scale on its own. It has to be built on purpose, the same as everything else. Trevor, feeling sidelined as Jazz and Sam make key decisions, grows resentful over equity and credit, still stinging from the rejected acquisition. Trevor Sims had built real value at BrightPath, partnerships, growth numbers, the machinery Jasmine Carter and Sam Okafor genuinely relied on. He also increasingly felt like a hired hand in a story that was always going to be told as Jazz and Sam. He still thought about the rejected offer, about what his own smaller equity stake would have meant in cash instead of paper. He didn't say any of this out loud. He started, instead, taking quiet phone calls in the stairwell that he didn't mention to anyone. Confidential BrightPath strategy documents surface inside a GlobalCare planning meeting. Someone on the inside has been talking. A junior GlobalCare analyst, new and not yet fully briefed on discretion, forwarded a strategy slide to the wrong internal list, a slide that referenced BrightPath's unreleased state-by-state expansion plan in detail no outsider should have had. A GlobalCare employee sympathetic to Maya Reyes's earlier reporting quietly passed it along to her. Maya called Jasmine Carter that same night. "Someone on your side is talking to them," she said. "I need you to see this before I write anything." Sam quietly traces the leak through internal document access logs, narrowing the source down to one account. Sam Okafor didn't sleep that night. He pulled the access logs for every document referenced in the leaked slide and cross-referenced them against employee accounts, quietly, without telling anyone but Jasmine Carter what he was doing. By 4 in the morning, the list of possible sources had narrowed from 31 employees to 1. Sam stared at the name on his screen for a long time before he called Jasmine. "I really hoped it wasn't going to be him," he said. Jazz confronts Trevor directly. He admits to selling information in exchange for a stake in a competing deal, feeling underpaid and overlooked. Trevor Sims didn't bother denying it once the door closed. "I built this company too," he said. "I just didn't get to be the story. GlobalCare offered me a real stake, real money, for information they were going to eventually get anyway." Jasmine Carter listened without interrupting, then said the thing that mattered most to her. "You didn't just sell information, Trevor. You sold the trust of every provider and family whose data was in that plan. That's not a business decision. That's a betrayal of the people this company exists for." Trevor is pushed out. Legal and PR fallout follows, and trust within the team is visibly shaken. Trevor Sims left BrightPath within the week, his equity clawed back under a clause Jasmine Carter had, months earlier, insisted on including against Trevor's own objections. Legal counsel managed the fallout quietly. The leak never became public in the way GlobalCare might have hoped. But something inside the company shifted. New hires whispered about it. Sam Okafor started double-checking access logs out of habit. Jasmine Carter learned, at real cost, that growth doesn't just multiply what a company has built. It multiplies what it's vulnerable to. The strain shows at home. Zion, now 7, asks why his mom is never around. Loretta worries openly about her daughter's health. Zion was 7 when he asked his mother, without any anger in his voice, just simple math. You said you built this so kids like me would have more time with their moms. How come I don't get more time with mine? Jasmine Carter did not have a clean answer. Loretta, watching from the kitchen doorway, didn't say, "I told you so." She just made her daughter sit down and eat something, the way she had every hard week since Jasmine was 16. Some problems, it turned out, billion-dollar valuations didn't solve. GlobalCare-connected opposition research resurfaces Jazz's teen pregnancy history, framing her as unqualified to lead a childcare company. The story that started appearing across a handful of conservative-leaning outlets that spring was carefully worded and technically factual. BrightPath's founder had been a teenage mother, had dropped out of the honors track, had no formal credentials in early childhood development. None of it was false. All of it was aimed. Jasmine Carter recognized the fingerprints immediately, the same instinct that once decided a pregnant 16-year-old should quietly disappear from an honors roster, dressed up now as journalism. Now an ally, Maya Reyes investigates the coordinated nature of the smear stories and traces funding back to a GlobalCare-linked PR firm. Maya Reyes had covered enough coordinated media campaigns to recognize one when she saw it. The too similar language, the too convenient timing, the same quotes attributed to industry observers, who never seemed to have a last name. She traced the PR firm behind the placements back through a public filing to a retainer paid by a GlobalCare Corp subsidiary. "This isn't reporting," Maya told her editor. "This is a hit job wearing a press badge and I can prove it." Senator Diane Holloway, a longtime champion of childcare reform, reaches out to Jazz after seeing the coverage, recognizing BrightPath as proof of concept for policy she's tried to pass for years. Senator Diane Holloway had spent 9 years trying to move federal childcare legislation through committees that treated it as a niche issue. She called Jasmine Carter's office directly, no staffer as a buffer. "I've read the smear pieces and I've read the real story underneath them," she said. "What you built is proof of something I've been trying to tell Congress for a decade, that this problem has real solutions, if we stop pretending it's too complicated to fix. I'd like your help making that case where it actually counts." A formal letter arrives inviting Jazz to testify before a congressional committee on childcare access and technology. The letter arrived on official letterhead, requesting Jasmine Carter's testimony before a congressional committee examining childcare access and technology-driven solutions. Jasmine set it down on the same desk where, years earlier, a GlobalCare folder had once tried to buy her silence. She thought of the loan officer's 4-minute rejection, the honors roster, the hallway stairs. They had spent her whole life deciding what girls like her were and weren't qualified for. Now the United States Congress wanted to hear her explain it to them directly. Jazz boards a flight to Washington, D.C. for the first time in her life, the episode's closing cliffhanger. Jasmine Carter had never been on a plane before that morning. She sat by the window with her testimony draft in her lap, Sam's revisions in the margins, Miss Price's notes stapled to the back. Somewhere over Alabama, she thought about a folding chair in a bank lobby that wasn't even her own memory, just a story her grandmother had told about a different kind of no. She was done being told no quietly. This time, she was flying toward the room where the answer actually got decided. You are watching the Dawn Film Vault. To stay informed on what transpired in the next episode, subscribe now to be updated when the next episode drops.